Hello YouTube, Shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. That's right, it's another movie review. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this or not, since everybody and their mama was reviewing this shit, but a fan of mine asked me, hey, why don't you just, if you saw the movie, why don't you just review it? So here it is, here are my thoughts on this movie. If you don't know what it is, you couldn't tell by the thumbnail or the title, it is X-Men Apocalypse. Yes, it is the third in the reboot trilogy of the X-Men movie franchise, directed by Bryan Singer, man who gave us the X-Men in the first place all those years ago. Now, to be warned, there will be spoilers in this. I'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, but some shit will liably slip out. So yeah, just to warn you, there will be spoilers. I'm gonna try to avoid spoilers as much as I possibly can, but if a spoiler slips out, let's just say you've been warned. Alright, X-Men Apocalypse takes place 10 years after X-Men Days of Future Past, with the Xavier Institute up and running, full of students, and Professor Xavier once again bound into his wheelchair and no longer the drunken mess that he was. But first, we start back out thousands upon thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt, where as teased in the post-credit scene in Days of Future Past, we run into En-Saba Noor, which translated means the first one, aka Apocalypse. He is currently transferring his mind into another person's body when he's betrayed by several of his keepers, and he is buried under an entire pyramid, only protected by the powers of several of his four. Well, I'll just go out and write and say it: the four horsemen. Yeah. Contrary to what you think, he didn't get it from the Bible. The Bible got it from him. Fast forward a few thousand years later to the modern era. We are first introduced to several X-Men who featured prominently in the original trilogy, but have yet to make an appearance until now. Yes, we have Cyclops, guided in by his older brother Alexander Summers, aka Havoc from First Class, as well as Miss Jean Grey. That's right, Red makes her appearance. As well as we also get some introductions of several other mainstays of the series that didn't get the jump in until now. We get Nightcrawler, Angel, Storm, Psylocke, and unbelievably, Jubilee. Get to Jubilee in a minute. So anyway, meanwhile, Mystique has been while Charles has been holding down his school, Mystique has been rescuing mutants from across Europe, particularly one Kurt Wagner, aka Nightcrawler, but for no real reason. Meanwhile, we get reintroduced to Moira McTaggart. Yes, that Moira from the first movie. Turns out that Charles erased her memory of all the events that happened in First Class. Basically, she knows of Professor Xavier, but doesn't know that she was there at Cuba when shit went down. Basically. So anyway, Moira discovers goes to somewhere in Egypt and discovers a cult still dedicated to Apocalypse. And Apocalypse returns, and he finds this new world in the 80s, full of technology and mutants, and he is not happy. So he begins recruiting four mutants in particular, his new four horsemen of the Apocalypse, starting with Storm, and going on with, Psylocke, Angel, and finally Magneto. Now, Magneto is probably one of the best parts of this whole movie. Now, Magneto has pretty much gone underground. He has stayed away from the events that happened in Days of Future Past when he almost assassinated the president. He is living somewhere in, I believe, Germany. I can't remember because I couldn't recognize the language, but it's somewhere either German or Polish. I'm sorry if I got this mixed up. It's sorry it's 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm doing this. But anyway, he's having a good time. He's married to a beautiful woman. They have a beautiful little daughter. And he's working at a steel facility. He's just pretty much living his life And his wife it's just so awesome to see him like this. And you can see his wife, she loves him. She knows that he's a mutant. She knows that he is the most wanted man in the entire world, but she gives no fucks because she loves him. Well, all that goes to shit when, at the steel manufacturing facility, a massive, big pot of molten badness was going to crush one of the workers, and Magneto uses his powers to stop it. And unfortunately, a few people see it. And he's like, oh shit, we gotta go. So, he's getting his family together, and his daughter has been held hostage by a bunch of police officers. And he offers to take him to in exchange, he offers to give himself up as long as his family goes free. So they give away his daughter, and turns out she's a mutant. She uses her powers to control the birds, a la Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. And one of the cops lets loose an arrow and shoots both his daughter and wife at the same time. And for the second time in his life, Magneto loses his family, and he just goes apeshit on these guys. He just kills them outright. And so he is he is eventually recruited as a member of Apocalypse's Four Horsemen in hopes of bringing down the world. Now, that's just the basic premise of the story, so we can go to the cast. A lot of returning favorites from this one. James McAvoy returns as Professor Xavier. Michael Fassbender, who else is going to play Magneto? Jennifer Lawrence as Raven Darkholme, Miss Mystique. Playing the villain in Sabanur Apocalypse, Oscar Wilde. Nicholas Hoult returns as Hank McCoy, the Beast. Rose Byrne makes her return to the franchise as Moira McTaggart. Let's see. Olivia, I'm getting ahead of myself. Lucas Till returns as Alex Summers, aka Havoc, and of course, Evan Peters plays Peter Maximoff, aka Quicksilver. Everyone loved him in the second movie. They're gonna love him in the third one. Let's see. Josh Helm returns as Colonel Stryker. And there's a few others, and those are just going on the returning ones. Here are the new ones that you should be watching out for. Playing the titular villain, Apocalypse, is Oscar Wilde. From what I've heard, he's a good actor. I can't remember off the top of my head things that he's been in. Ty Sheridan makes his debut as Scott Summers, Cyclops. Sophia Turner as Jean Grey. Olivia Munn, nerd girl that she is, plays Psylocke. Let's see. Cody Smith McPhee. Cody Smith McPhee plays Kurt Wagner, Nightcrawler. Alexandra Shipp plays Aurora Monroe, Storm. Ben Hardy plays Warren Worthington III, Angel/Archangel. And Lana Condor plays Jubilation Lee, Jubilee. Now, of course, we would be remiss to talk about this, and I'll get to this as soon as I get to it. But for now, I just want to give my overall thoughts on the movie, plus some pluses and minuses that I saw along the way. But anyway, I thought the movie was okay. It certainly wasn't better than Days of Future Past, which was a very tough act to follow. But it did some things right and some things not so right. It did introduce a lot of new mutants into this, but the way they did it was almost haphazardly. They jumped from scene to scene, and it made it hard to follow one particular mutant or group when they're jumping around from scene to scene. That it just felt incohesive in a way. And the first hour or so of the movie is just them recruiting mutants to their sides, and it just feels like it drags. And the first half of the movie, it just bores you for the first half. And I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. The second half gets markedly better when the two groups actually confront each other. Now, as for the mutants, I thought Cyclops looked pretty good. Although, I have to admit something, the new X-Men the new X-Men trilogy, the continuity issues are all over the map. It's hard for me to get a sense of continuity with these movies, like particularly with Alex Summers, Havoc. Now, keep in mind this timeline. he was in First Class, which took place in, I believe, 1962, 1963. So he was probably in his teens. The next movie, Days of Future Past, took place 10 years after that, 1962, 1963. I'm just roughballing here. So he would have been in his 20s. So then this movie takes place in 1983, which essentially is in the 80s. So he should be lowballing it in his mid to late 30s. So his brother, Cyclops, is in his teens in this one. His mid to late teens. So he had to have been born somewhere between First Class and Days of Future Past. That's the only way that it makes sense. And unfortunately, they look too much similar in age bracket that you believe that they're... Well, it's not that they don't look like brothers, it's just they don't look like an older, younger brother, or drastically older or drastically younger brother. So anyway, another thing that I wanted to talk about, a missed opportunity, is a potential more interaction between Nightcrawler and Mystique. For those of you who follow the comics, or any of the fans of the X-Men media at large, you know the relationship between Mystique and Nightcrawler, their mother and son. And I was hoping they kind of would address this kind of thing, but there's really no addressing it. As far as we're concerned, the two of them have no connection to each other than the fact that they're blue. Okay, I thought Sophia Turner did a great job as Jean Grey, and of course in this one they kind of teased the Phoenix Saga. Now, Bryan Singer has gone on record to say that he wanted to do an X-Men Phoenix Saga on the big screen. He had a chance to do it with The Last Stand, but unfortunately he left to do Superman Returns, and we know how much of a great decision that was. Okay. As for the titular villain, I have to say Oscar Isaac does a good job of playing Apocalypse, but you have to understand where I'm coming from with this. My impressions of Apocalypse come from the 90s animated X-Men cartoon, where Apocalypse was just this big, hulking motherfucker who was pretty much unstoppable. He could grow, he could fire energy blast, shapeshift, phase. At one point learns how to time travel. He was just the most powerful enemy that the X-Men would ever face. They would never be able to consistently beat him, but just foil his plans, but not really physically beat him. I mean, hell, in the animated series, it took them wiping him from existence just to stop him completely. And there's that. But unfortunately, Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse just lacks a certain overwhelming menace that Apocalypse needs. I mean, he did the best that he could with what he had, but unfortunately, it wasn't up there. I felt it could have been stronger. I'm sorry. I'm not a knock against the guy. It's just that this performance is only okay at best. Of course, Magneto steals the show because Magneto has always been the most interesting part of the trilogy. And Michael Fassbender is as synonymous with Magneto as Sir Ian McKellen is with the role. Let's see. Storm she actually feels. I'm sorry, forgive me, Dad, for saying this, but I feel I like this Storm better than Halle Berry Storm. At least she has the accent down. I'm sorry if you like Halle Berry Storm, but I like this Storm a little bit better. She has the accent, and she has a little bit of development because she, along with a lot of young mutants, see Mystique as a hero, as a symbol of mutant pride, and that just goes about her entire. That deals with her entire eventual turn to the good side. Olivia Munn as Psylocke is unfortunately wasted in this. She only had like 3 or 4 lines in the entire movie, and she was damn near forgettable. If you didn't know, if it wasn't Olivia Munn in this role, you would probably forget that Psylocke was even in the fucking picture. Same with Archangel. He really doesn't do anything to stand out other than the fact that he has metal wings and he shoots metal feathers at people. Of course, Quicksilver has, his Quicksilver moment. The last time we had a Quicksilver moment was in the last movie where he did the whole if I could hold time in a bottle thing in Under the Pentagon. This one he does it with Sweet Dreams Are Made of Thee, and he pretty much saves everyone in the. You've already seen it. It's already made the rounds on YouTube. He saves everyone in the entire school from being blown to shit after some shit goes down. And he actually does more in the movie just than that one scene. He actually sticks around for a lot. I will say that another missed opportunity is he does reveal to everyone that Magneto is his father, but he doesn't confront Magneto about it. He just saves it. And they really missed an opportunity here because they could have just said, hey, Magneto, I'm sorry, you lost your family, but look, you have a son you didn't know about. You still have family. I really wish they could have done that. I really wish they could have done so with that. Let's see. And we can't talk about this shit without talking about Jubilee. Everybody, Jubilee is a fan favorite. She was introduced to the world at large, to the greater world at large during the 90s X-Men cartoon. Everyone wanted Jubilee in it. The closest we got to Jubilee was the 2-hour Fox Generation X movie. That was the closest we got to Jubilee. And she's in the movie, but she doesn't do anything. In fact, after the mansion gets blown up, she's gone from the movie. She's not dead, she's just gone. Like, not there. Okay, so there's another part I want to talk about. And it's about a certain cameo. And I gotta admit, even though I knew it was coming, I still fangirled out like a bitch. Yes, I said that. So, a good chunk of after the mansion gets blown up, several of our heroes are captured by William Stryker. And Nightcrawler, Cyclops, and Jean stow away on board one of his choppers, and they head to where else? Alkali Lake. So while the kids are trying to work out how to figure out how to get them out, they discover this box, and Jean opens it with her psychic powers, and out comes Wolverine, played only by Hugh Jackman, wearing the Weapon X gear on, the full Weapon X shit on. You've seen it, you know what it looks like, and he just goes in there and he just starts killing people. Like it gets graphic at times. Like, he's just straight up turning dudes into chunky salsa by that point. He's just going ham on everyone. And then just before he leaves, Jean kind of gets into his head and brings out some of his memories, because at this point his mind has just been overly fucked. And he leaves, and Scott's like, oh, that's the last time we'll ever see him. Oh, Scott, you adorable little dumbass. But anyway, this also brings up another continuity issue. In Days of Future Past, we saw Wolverine getting fished out of the Potomac, and they were wondering what to do with him. And then William Stryker says, don't worry, I'll take it from here. But his eyes glow yellow, meaning that it's Mystique. But in this one, he's at Alkali Lake, full adamantium skeleton and all this good shit. And Williams, and then I just want to know what the hell happened there. There's just so many questions left unanswered by this. So anyway, after they save everyone, they go to Cairo, where Apocalypse, using Charles as an amplifier, broadcasts a message to let your world know that, hey, I'm running shit. You motherfuckers need to get down or lay down. But he sends a subtle psychic message to Jean, tells them where they are, and tells them they need to stop him. So it's Apocalypse and his 4 horsemen versus the X-Men, consisting of Mystique, Beast, Cyclops, without the shade. He has the shades, but not without the goggles. Jean, Beast. Did I mention Beast already? I'm not sure. And Quicksilver. And I gotta say, this fight was pretty epic. It was very, very intense. I would say that this part is better than Days of Future Past in terms of a climax, where we just have one big ass mutant fight, and it just goes ham on each other. And we actually see there's actually a portion of the battle where Professor Xavier gets into a type of mental duel with Apocalypse, and we actually see him grow from the trailer. That's all in the. I knew it was going to be that mental battle, because Xavier was walking in the trailer, so I knew, wait a minute, but he's supposed to be crippled. Oh, this is a mental battle. So anyway, Jean struts her stuff in this one and blows him apart with her Phoenix powers and shit. It gets real. So anyway, I will say that one of the X-Men will not make it out of this alive. I'm not saying who it is, but I'm just saying if they really did kill him, it'd be a shame. But I can understand what they're going for with this one. So yeah, I'm not gonna say who it is. I've already spoiled too much. But yeah, Magneto helps Xavier rebuild his school alongside Jean. And the two of them talk, say, hey, shit's going down. I'm just going to chill out for a little while. And he's like, why don't you stay here? Like, I'm not meant to be here. And they part ways. And we see the other X-Men in the danger room fighting Sentinels, getting ready for the next bout. And, of course, we got an after-credits scene. Post-credits scene, some men in suits visit the Weapon X facility to recover Stryker's mutant research data, including X-rays and a blood sample marked Weapon X, and on the behalf of something called the Essex Corporation. Now, this could mean two things. One, with the blood sample, we could see the debut, the on-screen cinematic debut of one Laura McKinney, aka X-23, Wolverine's clone / daughter / sister or / whatever you want to get into it. And the other thing is the Essex Corporation. The name, I don't think there's an Essex Corporation in the Marvel comic books. I could be wrong. But the name Essex should mean something to you hardcore nerds out there. Essex, as in the last name of Nathaniel Essex, a.k.a. Mr. Sinister. Yep, so we could be seeing Sinister coming along soon. So anyway, yeah, that was X-Men Apocalypse. Like I said, and this is now a lot of people have brought this up. Let's see Jeremy Johns brought this up. Chris Stuckerman brought this up. Angry Joe brought this up, and many others brought this up. So I'm going to bring it up myself. Now, Jean, Jubilee, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler go to the movies to see Return of the Jedi. And because that's the year the Return of the Jedi came out, to remind you that this is the 80s. So, Return of the Jedi, they watch it, they leave out, and they start talking about the movie, saying, oh, it wasn't as good. And Jean says a line that is very, very surprisingly fitting. Not only was it a slight jab at The Last Stand, but also very fitting for this one. She says that the third movie of a trilogy is always the weakest. And for me, X-Men Apocalypse is the weakest of the new X-Men trilogy. It's just insane. I mean, the movie is okay, but it's definitely the weakest of the trilogy. It had strong points, but if certain things were tweaked, if certain things happened, and if certain characters were more explored, I would be more willing to give this a better ranking than just okay. I would recommend that you go see it if you are an X-Men fan. There's a lot in it, enough of it to satisfy you as an X-Men fan, but when compared to the first two movies in this particular trilogy, it kind of falls flat. But yeah, it's okay, but definitely the weakest of the bunch. So that's my thoughts on X-Men Apocalypse. Yeah. Well, anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. You know what you can do to support the channel. Link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or how about this? What was your favorite? How about this? What were your favorite moments of the movie? Well, actually, how about I have two questions? Your favorite moment of the movie, and what mutant would you like to see come up in the next X-Men movie? Now, we might see him, we might not, because Bryan Singer says he's going to be stepping away from the X-Men movies for a while. He's getting a little burnt out. He needs to recharge his batteries or what have you. So, what mutant would you want to see in any upcoming X-Men movies? Or what storylines you want to see? Just leave below. I'll get back to you. You already know what you can do. You already know how to. You already found my Patreon. Hit me up on Twitter. #CaptainLuffy. Follow me on Tumblr. Shintigercurl, easily enough. And with that, It's been Shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, saying good day. And why was Quicksilver still living with his mother after 10 years?